This is what happened if you broke the law in the Wild West. Some of these punishments are truly shocking. Gunfire executions were a brutal form of frontier justice. Vigilante groups often tied criminals to posts and shot them dead. Sometimes, instead of a clean firing squad, outlaws were riddled with bullets by mobs eager to make a spectacle. Corpses were left hanging or shot full of holes as warnings to others. Then there was branding. While far less common than hanging or shooting, there are accounts of vigilantes burning permanent marks into cattle rustlers and thieves. Sometimes a hot iron was pressed into an arm or shoulder, leaving a scar for life as a badge of shame. Stories also exist of branding on the face, though these were rare and far from standard punishment. Whippings were also common. Using rawhide whips or ropes, sheriffs or vigilantes lashed lawbreakers in public. Flesh was torn open, backs shredded, and infections often followed. Whipping wasn't just punishment. It was humiliation, meant to break the offender in front of neighbors and family. Another notorious punishment was tar and feathering. Though most common in colonial America, it did appear in some frontier towns, especially mining camps. Vigilantes stripped offenders, covered them in hot tar, and rolled them in feathers before parading them through town. The tar burned the skin and left painful blisters, while the humiliation was unbearable. Though deaths were rare, the ordeal sometimes left victims scarred or sick from infection. Frontier jails were punishments in themselves. Prisoners were crammed into filthy, lice-infested cells with little food or water. Escape was common, but so was disease. In some remote mining towns, makeshift lockups were dug into the ground or carved into rock, leaving prisoners chained in dark, airless holes, harsh conditions that could be almost as deadly as the crimes themselves. One of the most feared punishments was hanging. Horse thieves, murderers, and outlaws could be executed on the spot by a lynch mob, sometimes without a trial. Victims were strung up on trees or gallows in front of entire towns. If the rope was too short or the knot was tied wrong, the condemned man wouldn't die instantly. Instead, he would choke slowly for up to 10 or 15 minutes, kicking and gasping as the crowd looked on. Lynchings were so common that in some frontier towns, they became public entertainment. Native American tribes also had their own punishments. Among the Plains tribes, whipping and mutilation were sometimes used against thieves or traitors. In some cases, offenders were tied to posts and beaten, or had parts of their ears or fingers cut off as permanent marks of shame. Against enemies or outsiders captured in war, more extreme punishments, including execution by fire or slow torture, could be inflicted. Horse theft was one of the most dangerous crimes in the West. Stealing a man's horse often meant leaving him to die in the wilderness. Punishment was swift. Horse thieves were hanged, shot, or beaten to death without hesitation. A saying of the time was simple: steal a man's horse, and you steal his life. Even courts in frontier towns were brutal. Judges handed down sentences quickly, and executions followed almost immediately. In some places, quick-draw justice meant trials could be over in less than a day before the hangman's noose was tied. In the Wild West, punishments